Good morning. Hello. I got way too many tabs open. Yeah. Well, there is a... Here we go. Got a little more rain last night, I think. We're still calling for El Nino to shift to La Nina, which is going to mean hot, and probably dry for us. Morning, Sean. Morning, Mara. Yeah, so we're going to be... Morning, Jared. Morning, Valerie. There is a shift coming. I think they're talking June could be hotter. It sounds like one of those years that we may be complaining about the heat. I've been saying I want it to warm up a little bit. I never said I wanted it over 90. I just wanted it in the upper 80s. Just for the record, don't blame this on me when we shift and if they're right. Morning, Scott Keller. Morning, Brandon. Jared Cook, good morning. Valerie, I don't know if I said Deb, good morning. You know, just for everybody's, morning, Daniel. Tiffany, good morning. Bill, good morning. Just for everybody's, we try to get on and hide any kind of weird posts or anything. Anybody that's writing this big post and, wow, I really like your content and you need to send me a friend request. I've tried, but I can't, don't mess with those people. There's plenty of people that are trying to, or, ooh, if you like this, go here. Don't click on any links. If you can't, I'm real slow to take friend requests on my Facebook and stuff because, there's just so many people out there trying to scam you. It's crazy. So make sure that you are careful and always go in and look at their profile and make sure they've been posting. It's legit. Make sure and go. I've got enough friends on I don't always remember and but I'll think, I think that person's already a friend or whatever, and I go in and check because it's a hassle to have to go in and reset your password and everything. Man, it's this internet thing's great, but it's also really, really irritating. We spend a lot of time trying to protect, and the more followers we get or people that like our page, the bigger it gets, the more that kind of junk we got to go through. And so if somebody comes on here trying to solicit you to follow their link or whatever, just don't do it, okay? And I try to hide stuff. Whitney works on it too, so we try to get it cleaned up. But morning, Ryan Owens. Morning, Corey. Mr. Sheriff, good to see you on here. Christy, good morning. Jana, good morning. Robin, good morning. Mom, good morning. I got my Go Get 'Em for Jesus shirt, t-shirt. We got the Facebook page, or not the Facebook page, the website, and we are able to stream to there. If Facebook goes down, if they for some reason shut me down, they haven't tried to. I don't get into politics a lot, so they usually leave me alone. But that as the more this year heats up, the more that might be a temptation because, but at the same time, I try to focus on the Word, and you guys support because of that. It's an opportunity to support us in a way that gets you a cool T-shirt. I haven't done any caps yet, but they're expensive, and yes, Corey, you said it right there. That's how they hack your account, is when if you click on those links, then they send you a message and ask for a code and all that. You don't need to do all that. And certainly people try to solicit money sometimes directly, but if they can get in there and once in a while they've used used my picture and made a internet or a Instagram profile, just changing. It was mine is Kelly _Cronkite, and they did a dot, and it's if you don't catch it, and so if you look at it and they try to make it look like me. I mean, look at what's going on and try to vet that. It's not rude to say, "How do you know me?" Make them answer a question. That's what I do a lot of times. How did we meet? How did you? So ask something that only the real person would know. Morning, Rhonda. Morning, Boyd. Morning, Jeff Washburn. All right, I got something good. Let's go into the Word today. But just a challenge to you: go to the website. Remember the website, highcallministries.org. We are streaming to it. Through this platform in case, and I don't think you have to have a Facebook account there, but there's also YouTube. So if we ever, something happens that we need to, I want to keep. That's why we're trying to do this so that you're able to connect. John chapter 12. It's interesting here. This is right before Jesus goes to the cross. It's right before the triumphant entry. So the triumphant entry. Most of you know this, but for any that don't, that's right. That's when Jesus rode in on the donkey right into Jerusalem just before he was betrayed and went to the cross. And so the last week of his life on earth as a man. And all fulfilling prophecy, all these cool things that took place. But there's something I caught this morning as I was reading right in here. And I'm going to read it out of a couple different translations, New Living and NIV. I didn't have time to grab my New King James. But here in verse 2, it says, let's say verse 12. Chapter 12, verse 1. We'll just start there. 6 days before the Passover celebration began, Jesus arrived in Bethany, the home of Lazarus, the man he'd raised from the dead. A dinner was prepared in Jesus' honor, and Martha served, and Lazarus was among those who ate with him. Then Mary took the 12-ounce jar of expensive perfume made from the essence of nard, and she anointed Jesus' feet with it, wiping the feet with her hair. And the house was filled with a great fragrance. Now, this is a picture. This is there's two different times, two different women who anoint Jesus. The different time was in, I believe in chapter 7. Anyway, there's a different, chapter 7. Separate and difference. There's a lot of differences. So it's believed it's two different things. Anyway, but that was in Luke chapter 7. So different one account of a separate instance. That's not what I wanted to talk about. What I wanted to talk about was the fact that Jesus being there, them getting to the point of them really realizing what's going on. And maybe Mary had more of a sense of this, Mary Magdalene, that had more of a sense of this than others. But regardless of where all of their awareness level was, they knew Jesus was life and truth and all of those things. And so, they were honoring him. And they brought this very expensive, this was the equivalent to a year's wage for the normal person. And so a very expensive thing. But something that grabbed my attention, then it's very expensive, but the value was that we want to honor Jesus. You know, sometimes we get things out of kilter in our lives because we don't value or put Jesus in the place of value that we need to. We put something else above him. And I think that's part of what is taught here, or what the underlying thing or an underlying thing that we can draw from this is that they didn't regard the value of the money, the year's wage. It was the value of Jesus above all else. And I think when we measure things in our lives, and I think we do this, we put value on certain things, and we take care of them. You know, I was always taught, you know, you don't go outside and play in your church clothes, because we used to dress up. We were talking about this last night at Bible study. You don't go outside and play in your good clothes. You know, those are meant for good. We kept a separation in our mind. You know, your church clothes, you came home, you changed before you went outside and played. Now that we don't dress up as much, you know, for our kids, it was your school clothes or your good shoes, your school shoes. You're not going out and stomping in a mud hole, or you're not going out there and going to run through the pastures in the good thing. We kept a value and separation, and I don't know that everybody does that, but I do that to this day. I've got a good straw hat and a work straw hat. I've got a good felt and a work felt. You know, I've got good boots and work boots. I establish a value, and how I care for them is different. Now, I will say this, my work hat and my work boots, I don't treat them with less value, but I allow them to be involved in different things. That could be a different study. I'm gonna have to think about that a little bit. But here's the thing: they didn't regard the value of that nard, that perfume, that spice and perfume, that use for that fragrance. They didn't value that above Jesus. They kept everything in balance, and I think that's something that, we can all look at. Do we really value Jesus and our relationship with him? That's what establishes setting our time and saying this is the most important thing. I think that's a big part of it. But I love that it said that the fragrance filled the air. But then looking at Judas, verse 4, it says, "But Judas Iscariot, the disciple who would soon betray him, said, 'That perfume was worth a year's wages. It should have been sold for money to give to the poor, not that.'" And then it says in verse 6, the way this is written, it says, "Not that he cared for the poor, he was a thief. And since he was in charge of the disciples' money, he often stole some for himself." So John saw through his true self. And I think that they must have realized and known that he was stealing some of the money, taking some of the money out of what they operated on. Understand something. Jesus went, and they weren't working jobs right there, but God supplied. It says that there were certain people that helped supply the ministry. That's why the time that was committed, they had to have that extra support. But Judas, his heart was, he was covering up for the sin that he was committing. He was covering up, but it was beginning to take over his life, the fact that his value on things above Jesus. And it affected him. This commentary out of my Life Application Bible in verses 5 and 6 was pretty neat. It said that Judas used a pious phrase to hide his true motives, but Jesus knew what was in his heart. And this is where God is always looking. Our outward actions can be right, but our heart be wrong. Sometimes we fail in the flesh, but our heart is right. The difference was Peter was not perfect either, but Peter's heart was right. The difference is, and that's why we talk so much about guarding our heart and keeping things able to be shifted and changed, and the priorities aligned always. There's going to be times life's going to consume us and take charge and take over. I think it's that way. It can be that way with work, and we justify the things that we do and how we live based on. There's such a drive sometimes to have things, or to and get in a hurry getting there. And I did it. I mean, I get it, and I did it at times. But we also kept that a pretty good. We guarded this. Sue and I'm talking about. We guarded this, and I try to do this with the churches, that we don't put a pursuit of something that we want ahead of God's pace and having it in the right time and trusting Him for it. If we continually work on our heart to keep our priorities right, and we say, God, no thing is going to get between me and you. I saw a post that was sent to me by somebody that serves in our ministry, and it was just talking about relating it. I don't think I ever shared it. I shared it with a few individuals. I didn't share it as a post just because I hadn't felt led to do that yet. But it was just talking about the balance of, kids and raising your kids and allowing God to continue to be in their lives and not be driven by outside sports or things where you're taking your family is never at church, or you're never at home, and you're spending way more money than you can afford at times. And it can happen to where, there's a lot of things out of kilter. Doesn't mean any of those are bad. It just means the right balance, and sports and athletics and those things can just take over. But so can, recreation for the summer. I know families, their thing is they go somewhere. Having some time to do that's important. Having the balance of all that. It could be the same way with work. I mean, for me, we were talking about my dad. For me growing up, my dad, before he gave his life and sold out to God and went all in for God, he worked on Sunday. It was another day. I can't give up this day. I've got to work. And so, he worked 7 days a week. And then he found out after he began to give his time to God that he could get more done on Monday through Friday and a half day on Saturday, and spend time with God, time making church a priority, leaving, shutting things down and going to ministry events or things. He found out I get way more done because all of a sudden God's blessing was on his time. But there was just something that was taking place here, and Jesus' response about this, he says, "Leave her alone. She did this in preparation for my burial. You will always have the poor among you, but you will not always have me." And when all the people heard of Jesus' arrival, they flocked to see him, and also to see Lazarus, the man that Jesus had raised from the dead. So then it goes into the triumphant entry. But just balancing our lives. That was my challenge this morning. But something that I saw in that was that they valued Jesus more than anything else. There's times the life of following Jesus, go get them for Jesus, living for God. There's times it's going to cost us something. But the value, the importance is that following God always provides more than we ever seem to lose in the world's game, in the world's, like, things that we give up, God replaces, often multiplies them back to us, and provides us in a way that we could never do on our own. Man, what a cool thought. So loving God and bringing our hearts before God and saying, God, I want you more than anything else. I want you first place in my life. That's a good thing. Well, you guys have a blessed day. Go out today and be blessed in all that you do, and go get them for Jesus. Let's see who come on after. Bobby, good morning. Brad, good morning. Sean Mayfield, good morning, brother. Yeah, Corey said it is tricky. Asking them how we know each other, or when did we meet? Where did we? Asking them something like that. That's always. And if you're not sure, go ahead and ask 2 or 3 questions. Have a little conversation. They'll pretty much slip up. So anyway, Y'all have a good day. Good group on here. Thursday, so we can't say have a good weekend yet.